So you want to know if it's safe to travel to Mexico City?
Wow. Well, you're here, Josh. How do you feel?
Oh, I haven't been kidnapped yet, so that's a good sign, right?
That's...
Or maybe nobody wanted me. Maybe that's a problem.
Aww.
Why does anybody want me?
Maybe it's just a matter of time. Don't you worry.
That's terrible. Right now, we're in the Central Park of Mexico. This place is huge. Look how green it is. That's what I said. Guys, Andy and I are here in beautiful Mexico City. Is it safe to be here? What's it like? What are the scenes like? We have tons of footage for you. We're talking all things Mexico City.
My hometown. I'm partial to it.
So
I'm
she's
very
biased.
excited. I'm very excited to be sharing with you about the country that I love so very dearly.
Guys, you have the perfect tour guide today. Andy Blanco Sweeney, right over here.
And the perfect director over here as to how you should feel as an American or just an international traveler about coming to Mexico.
A gringo who has never been here before in his life.
Goodness.
Can I say gringo on TV? Is that okay?
I think,
okay.
yeah,
A gringo's
I think
loco.
everyone would agree that that's what you are here.
That's what I am. Soy Josh Johnson.
Y yo, Andi.
And estás viendo el tiempo perfecto. Right?
Oh, in the morning, nothing compares to waking up with the sound of the sea.
Buenos días.
Buenos días. Estamos en la Ciudad de México.
Okay, 8th grade Spanish.
Yeah, you're going. You didn't even take it in 8th grade.
You're right, I took French.
Yes, that's right.
I don't even have an 8th grade education here. I don't even know. Donde está el baño? That's all I say walking around
That's
everywhere.
a very important phrase.
That's
that
all
you
I learned.
want to know if you're going to Mexico. Okay, that's very good.
You guys got that? On this episode, I'm going to be dropping some Spanish I've been learning along this trip.
Yes,
And
very exciting.
And Andy's going to let me know later whether or not I said anything correctly. So
And we're going to be telling you about whether Mexico City is a good place to visit, whether it's safe.
We've had a really exciting week so far. We've done a lot of cool stuff. We're going to be showing you guys lots of footage of that and answering the question, is it safe to be here? So stay tuned for that answer coming up throughout the episode because it's a multi-part answer. It's a multi-level answer.
It's got a lot of layers, but a lot of people do want to know, and I think it is something that you take into account when you're planning to travel to any international country.
Right. So I have a list here that I've taken. And
you're making lists?
I'm making
Wait,
lists.
are you a list maker
I'm
now?
a list maker now.
Josh's Notes.
Josh's Notes by Josh Johnson. Now listen, I'm going to start off with one right off the bat that I noticed the first thing I noticed when I got off the airplane, we get into this car, this unmarked car. Okay. You guys, get a driver first and foremost. Get a driver. Don't hire an Uber. Okay. That's smart, right?
I mean, yes and no. I think Uber has gotten a lot safer because you can share your ride. You track your ride. Usually it's a good idea to share your ride with anyone that you're going to go meet or with anyone that you trust to kind of keep tabs on you. But for the most part, Ubers are also at risk because they're taking in strangers in their cars. So
goes both ways.
It does go both ways.
They're just as scared as you as you
as
are of
them. I think they've had some crazy stories that I've heard along the way as I've taken Uber. But
same thing in LA though, you know?
Yeah, but
right?
I think the consensus though is you shouldn't get into a car
with strangers.
Definitely don't take a taxi. And I'm sorry to the taxis of Mexico, but that is the most dangerous thing.
Don't take a taxi. Drivers over Ubers.
Correct.
Ubers may be okay. Now,
but
Andy,
if the taxi is registered at a hotel or if it's a specific taxi service for a specific place, then it's okay.
Yeah. Now, Andy set us up with a driver. A really cool driver.
For the whole trip.
Shout out to
Frank.
Senor Franco.
Senor Franco.
Awesome guy. Awesome driver. Okay.
He's so
now,
sweet.
To those of our viewers out there watching and they're never been to Mexico, how are they going to get a hold of a driver? How are they going to know who's safe and who to call to pick them up?
That's a really good question, Josh.
And sometimes the question is more important than the answer.
I think one way that you can do it is that, you hit up anybody that you know that might have Mexican family or maybe coworkers.
Hey, hola! You got any homies in Mexico, bro?
Oh,
I need a driver, ese.
Just like that.
That's my Spanish accent.
I think the word by word of mouth, it's a good way. And then you can check Uber for prices, like how much would it cost to go from here to here, because everything's in pesos, right?
Pesos. We got to talk about that too.
So if you're not used to converting whatever currency you have into pesos, then that's a good way to see, okay, this trip would be about 200 pesos, which is the equivalent of like $10.
Guys, it's outrageous. You'll go to dinner, and you'll get a bill, and it says you owe 2,000 pesos. And my first time, I thought, oh my God, I'm broke. What just happened? What did you order?
I'm broke.
Don't freak out. Okay, 2,000 pesos is equivalent to $2.50.
No, 2,000 pesos is about $100.
Okay. Point being, the exchange rate is...
and it fluctuates every day.
Fluctuates every day,
yes. But $1 is the equivalent of 20 pesos.
There you go. So don't freak out if you go to eat in Mexico and you have an outrageous bill that you owe thousands and thousands of pesos. Don't freak out, okay? Now, this is important, okay? Because you're going to notice this right when you get off the plane. The driving, it's terrible.
To each his own.
It's terrible.
It's actually really good if you think about it. You didn't see a single car accident, did you?
I didn't. I did not see a single car. Now listen,
I'm sure they happen.
It's like magic. I don't even understand how anyone survives.
That was actually my first reaction when I went to the city too when I was young.
Now, if you drive in LA, you think that's bad? You haven't seen nothing yet, okay?
Yeah.
Guys,
traffic?
Traffic is terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Traffic is you don't even know, if you're in LA, you don't even know traffic until you've been in Mexico City.
I remember we were on a car ride, and there was like the equivalent of LA traffic, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
And you're saying like, oh, there's a lot of traffic, and our driver was like, oh no, there's no traffic right now. Great.
Blinkers, optional.
Mm-hmm.
Optional. Rarely ever saw a blinker from our driver or anyone else's.
Well, I think that's true because also there's like sometimes there's just no lanes. So why would you do a blinker?
Sometimes there are no lines in the road, even on the freeway. Sometimes there are, sometimes there aren't.
You just see this crossover of cars.
Mess of.
It's amazing.
You know what I compared it to?
What?
Koi fish.
Yes, you did.
Koi fish at feeding time, where they're cars are. I'm gonna use my airplanes over here, right? Zigzagging on top of each other. Sometimes I saw a car just ramp over another one. Oh, the curbs. Forget the curbs. Curbs don't mean anything. Curbs are they're just sort of like a fun obstacle, I think. Oh, we're gonna ride over this essay.
I think.
Boom, boom,
yeah,
boom,
if you ever want to cross the street, you want to grab hold of a local and then cross. You don't want to just risk jaywalking. He'll go right through you.
It really. I mean, I didn't see anyone in a stretcher. I didn't see any car accidents. It was really miraculous.
And because it's active driving. What drives me nuts on the road is passive drive. Like people that are on their phone and then going really slow and like causing a wreck or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. When people are active driving, they're so aware of their surroundings. And so if I want to get to where I'm going and other people are active driving, I feel more satisfied because I feel like, okay, we're all trying to get there.
If you, like you said, if you were going to be on your cell phone while driving, forget about it. You're done.
Yeah, you're done.
Done.
You're in a wreck in Mexico, for sure.
Landscaping. Can we talk about the landscaping here? Right? Oh my goodness.
Mexico. Is it greener than you thought it would be?
Guys, it's a lush, green, tropical paradise in the middle of the freeway.
Yeah. No.
Most of the streets have a sidewalk that just cuts right in between the street, and it's just this beautiful, lush, green walkway. Mm-hmm. It's like a tropical oasis.
Yeah, it's like
beautiful.
Getting lost in a jungle.
It's beautiful.
It is.
How do they keep the city so lush and green and well manicured?
Mm-hmm. Lots of landscaping.
Lots of landscaping. In Mexico, they value their landscaping.
Culturally, people are very proud of the beauty of Mexico, of their city. Not just Mexico City, all of Mexico has such incredible divine just nature walks and places that you can go to, and a lot of different environments, right? You can go to the desert, you can go to the jungle, you can go, more city atmosphere, and it really is impressive, though, in Mexico City, how clean cut everything is and manicured and maintained.
It really is. The sidewalks. Can we talk about the sidewalks for a second? Every corner you turn, you're going to see somebody sweeping.
Oh, yes.
Or scrubbing.
Mopping
The sidewalks.
every morning.
With soap.
Yeah.
Astounding. Maybe you're like me and you have this thought in the back of your head that Mexico City is a dirty place. I don't know. Maybe.
Oh, yeah?
Or sandy. See, I pictured like a desert. I pictured cactuses.
Mud huts, didn't you?
Mud huts.
With straw roofs. That's what you pictured, isn't
The people in Mexico are so mad at me right now. Guys, I love you, okay? I did not know this is what it was like there.
Honestly, it's Hollywood's fault. They
It's
don't
Hollywood's
depict
fault.
the beauty of Mexico City very often.
And this is what this show is going to do today. We're going to debunk Hollywood myths about what Mexico City is really like, okay?
Yes.
The sidewalks and the buildings, not very handicap compliant. Not very accommodating.
Very true.
If you are in a wheelchair, I would not recommend visiting Mexico City.
I love that you noticed that because I think that's not something that maybe an everyday traveler or tourist that doesn't need those accommodations would notice. And after you pointed it out, I noticed it a lot more. There aren't a lot of ramps. There, wherever you're going, I mean, there are buildings still that don't have elevators or any kind of...
a lot of stairs.
Yeah, a lot of stairs.
So if you are in a wheelchair or you're traveling with somebody who's in a wheelchair, something to strongly keep in mind. Okay, accessibility is an issue. Okay, you're going to go into local restaurants. There's going to be step after step, and there's no ramps. There's no elevators. So they'll have like a handicapped ramp to get on the sidewalk.
Yeah,
but
sometimes.
Sometimes, and then after a few feet, it's like you're off-roading. It's just like up, down.
They're all over the place.
Excuse me. Andi is very well traveled. She's been to several countries, far more than I have been. And very well traveled. Andi, you can speak to this better than I can. As an American, we like our personal space, right? As you notice, every episode I scoot further and further away from you just to make people feel more comfortable. Because we get so much fan mail about people telling us that.
Why are you so close?
Why are you so close together?
I don't notice those things because in my culture, we...
See, it's not my fault. It's her. She's the one that keeps scooting over next to me.
That's not even true. Ew, get away.
Here I am over here.
No.
But in Mexico City...
Personal space is different.
For the cars, like this with a bus, right?
Yep.
I mean, you'll just be, there's no personal space
You
at
could
all.
totally high five like the passenger in the other car if you wanted to. Playing with your planes here? How much? And it's something to get used to because I think Americans actually in other cultures, not just Mexico, but they get a little bit of a rep of being a little bit cold, seco. Seco translates to dry. It's like there's not that much interpersonal connection with strangers.
See.
You know, so yeah, when we greet somebody, we kiss on the cheek and
in
we
Mexico.
hug. And hugging is different in
Hugging
Mexico.
is different in Mexico.
A real hug.
That's a very good point.
Mm-hmm.
See, I have been well trained that my hugs are open, one arm.
Yeah.
Make sure you can see the chest at all times.
He's turning away.
No body contact whatsoever. It's just an arm and an open side hug. That's how we hug here appropriately in the United States of America. Mexico, you meet someone for the first time and it's open mouth kissing.
No,
that's what it is.
No, but it is a closer knit. It's like enveloping you
it's beautiful.
Into warmth and love.
The hugs are A+.
Yeah.
I mean, you're getting right in there with these hugs. You can feel the love.
Yes, for the most part. Of course, we're speaking generally, and there are a lot of different experiences that people might have with different people. But embedded in the culture, there is an interpersonal closeness. Like you could go into any space, and if someone else is present in that space, it is extremely rude not to say good morning or good afternoon. You don't just ignore someone if they're in your vicinity. Like you always greet them. It's the
very unlike America.
Yeah.
United States of America.
Actually, yeah, you can. That was something that actually blew my mind when I first moved here. Like it still kind of feels weird when I come back from visiting my family in Mexico. Like I'll go into an elevator and people just scoot over and no one says anything.
Oh, you turn away and you immediately pull out your phone and and you just act like they're not there. It's very important. People in Mexico, I have found, are incredibly present. So engaging is the word. Socially engaging, yes.
It makes me so happy. It makes my heart so happy that you say that.
And which explains you so much, because that's exactly what Andi is she is present and socially engaging. When she was 8 years old, she had braces and headgear. And I was walking on the street. I was walking on the street, and she's an 8-year-old child here, okay, walking with her mom, and she goes,
"That is not true." Goes,
"Excuse me, can I please add you on Facebook?"
None of that ever happened.
It was so nice.
That is not.
That's how I remember it. Socially engaging.
That is a lie. I was.
Excuse me, can I please add you on Facebook?
I
did not do that. I said, oh.
I was 14 and you were only no. I was 14. You were only a couple of years older.
And I was 47.
No, and no, and we were at an event.
That's how she meets people.
No,
though.
we were
She's
at
very
an event,
engaging.
and my mom was there, and my little sister, and you
said, "Excuse me, can I please add you on Facebook?"
I never talked like that ever. I was actually a very, very smooth.
I didn't want to tell her, but that's exactly how she talked.
That is not how I talked.
But we digress.
I have nothing wrong with lisps.
Well, I didn't tell you that, but you kind of did. It was the braces. Your braces. No. Look how great her teeth are now. Look at that. Smile for us. Oh boy, here goes a smile. Braces. My next note: don't drink the water. Tap water. That is.
This is true.
Don't drink tap water.
Yeah, always do bottled water.
I haven't done it. I haven't drank any. And she taught me this. When you're brushing your teeth, use bottled water to brush your teeth. Don't even let the water go inside your mouth.
Yeah.
Well, why is this, Andi?
If you're an American or from most other countries, you won't be used to the bacteria and the bugs, I guess, that are in Mexico. It is true. Like, my mom used to make this joke to me growing up, how she was basically immune to everything because she grew up in Mexico City, drinking the water and like just being on the streets.
Ninja immunities.
Yeah, and it's true. Like, my mom never gets sick, never. And when she gets sick, it's like a real. Josh loves my mom.
Who doesn't love your mom?
So yeah, just bottled water is a good idea because you want to keep and taking a lot of vitamin C and making sure that you bring your own medicines because obviously the pharmacy in Mexico has all of its own things. There's a few things that cross over, like Pepto-Bismol is a thing everywhere. I ironically got sick a couple days ago.
Ironically, she's the one that gets sick on this trip. What did you eat?
Ceviche.
Ceviche. She eats a ceviche.
Okay, I wanted to talk about that because ceviche in like Playa del Carmen or Puerto Vallarta or anything on the coasts is totally fine because it's fresh catch of the day. And depending on where you go in Mexico City too, there's certain restaurants that take like crazy precautions. But for the most part, you don't want to eat fish that isn't cooked ever, usually. But
sushi.
In Mexico City, you have to know exactly where to go for sushi or things like that. Are you
feeling better now?
I am.
Good.
You. But much better. Much better.
Yeah. Be careful, guys.
But if I hadn't been from Mexico, I might have gotten a lot sicker.
You might have died. Guys, the moral of the story is, please, if you're coming to Mexico City, pack your own lunch. Bring your own water.
No, do not pack your own lunch. The food in Mexico City is amazing.
No, it really is.
It's my favorite
delicious.
part.
Delicioso.
The restaurant scene, best food.
Everywhere you go, fresh squeezed orange juice.
So I am eating a very traditional concha and green juice, which is always freshly squeezed. You can find them everywhere you go. And Josh is having an oreja, which is basically very flaky sweet bread and coffee. And we're about to have a very traditional Mexican breakfast, which is probably chilaquiles and huevos divorciados. There's no preservatives, nothing. It's just
no Minute Maid.
Honestly, no Minute Maid. Yeah, that doesn't exist. People are like, what is that?
Okay, so I just got my omelet. It looks like we have some small potatoes right here next to it. That's great. And we have some beans, some delicious Mexican beans. And then they just brought me these excellent fresh corn-made tortillas in case I want to make a taco out of my breakfast. Tacos for breakfast. Only in Mexico. The coffee. Can we talk about the coffee for a second?
Oh, yeah. You like the coffee.
I love coffee. Okay. I've never been a coffee snob. I love all coffee. It ruined me a little bit here.
I know.
This coffee is the greatest coffee I've ever had in my entire life. You know why?
Well,
They don't burn it.
Yeah.
It's delicious. It goes down smooth.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the perfect balance.
Mm-hmm.
A coffee, 10 out of 10.
Sustainable agriculture here in Mexico. There is a big emphasis on food being fresh. People take a lot of pride in it because food, it's such an integral part of the culture.
Mm-hmm.
It's such an integral part of people coming together. Like in Mexico,
I love that.
In Mexico, all couples, all families, they sit together for dinner, for lunch, and it
That
creates
explains why
that
Andy's always
connection.
trying to sit so close to me on this show.
Yeah, no, don't even pretend, Josh. It's all you.
But let's talk for a minute. Now, Andy, we all know the big actress here in the United States, right?
Yeah, so
Okay. But not only that, but she's actually a big star here in Mexico. Okay, just like her mom.
No,
Just like her mom.
no.
Now, Andy, please tell all of our wonderful viewers about Televisa and your novellas and your meetings that we went on. Let's talk about that for a minute. Okay, so we're here at the Televisa Studios,
That's right.
and we're lost.
All right. So a couple of years ago, I wanted to reconnect with my culture and my home country. So I went to live in Mexico. I was Airbnb-ing it, living out of a suitcase for 2 years until recently. Now I have a place. Yay. But at the time, I was just kind of going back and I said, I really want to bring my work to Mexico, do something in Spanish, do more work down there.
I can take it from here. And then you walked right into the Televisa Studios and you said, "Can I add you on Facebook?"
Oh my gosh, no. Then I just
And they
started
booked her.
to reach out to a lot of
This is
people.
how she
I
does
wrote some emails. I sent my headshot and resume and videos of things I've done before. And
you said,
no, I did not say that. Just ended up auditioning for a couple of novellas. I did do a couple of them.
I'm working at Westwood. My name is Margaret, but everybody calls me Rita.
Oh, Margarita. Great credentials. Why a prepared woman like you wants to be a surrogate mother?
And it was a really good time. So I just thought, hey, I could do my acting thing in multiple countries. I'd already done films in Germany, in London, and in the States. So I wanted to make sure that I did some work in my home country.
checking all those boxes.
I checking all the boxes.
An international celebrity.
Okay, so we finally got in. We had to wait a little bit. But this is the entrance to Televisa. And we still have to wear masks here for some reason.
See.
But here on the left is where they do my hair for whenever I'm in a novela. And they have their own stylists, their own products, everything. And they get it exactly the look that they want. So this is the it's called Studio de Imagen. So
Studio de Imagen.
Image studio. So it's all about the image of the actors, and that's right in here.
We're going to pan
So
around
point
here.
the camera that way.
Bueno. Magnifico.
Right.
All I know is you have these important meetings and she drags me along. So
I-
I'm just walking over here, just taking photos and videos like a little creeper.
This is a sound stage, and this is where they would do some filming and some building for the sets. So excited!
I was hoping I could sneak onto a set and be like,
We did.
they're in the middle of a hot romantic scene in Spanish, and I just walk in there. Hi guys, ¿Quién es americano?
No, they'd probably be like, "Oh yes, let's book him."
Who is this guy?
Book
Get him
him.
off of the set. And I
Hey,
just show up.
don't lie. You've been in one of my movies, so you're an actor now. So you
Yes.
never know when they're gonna just scoop you up.
never
So anyway, I think you knocked me up in a movie once.
I did. I
That's
knocked.
right.
Guys, check out that film. I knock up Andy.
Just leave me alone.
What have I done?
Okay. Anyway, we're cutting that.
Are we though? It's still here.
We did. We went to Televisa. I took on some meetings since we were going to be here anyway, But I was mainly excited to show you that world that I had been a part of a year and a half ago or whenever I was there. So I was so excited, and it was fun, right? Kind of enjoyed.
It was
seeing
great.
The process.
It was great. I had never been on a TV set in Mexico before, and so it was It was
It
excellent.
was different, and so
A little different.
You have the studios there, you have the sound stages,
Mhm.
and then you have the building where all the casting offices are. And what
Mhm.
they do is they have certain days where you can go and drop off your materials. I went on an off day that was not the day you can do that, so some of the offices could be, a little rude, but at the same time, it was really like what Hollywood kind of used to be like back in the
day.
golden Hollywood days,
the golden
where you
days.
could go to casting offices and just drop off your resume and say hello to people.
Mhm,
That's
mhm.
still a thing in Mexico. So I kind of really like that because I like the personal connection that you can create.
Okay, so I went to the bathroom, and when I came out, Andy was gone. So now I'm lost here in the Televisa studios. But check this out. It's like the Mexican version of Josh and Andy. El Timo es muy perfecto.
And I ended up taking some really cool meetings from
Yeah.
being there. And then I met with one of the biggest producers, and I have a screen reading or chemistry read in March. So
Look at that.
few
Look at
months from now.
And what she didn't tell you, because she didn't know this, is that while she was meeting with all these big executives, I went and found my own offices and I learned a few things. And I said, "Excuse me, hola, may I please add you on Facebook?" And I got booked on my own show in Mexico. So that's coming up too.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Are
I'm
gonna
kidding.
play, like,
That
a
never
creepy-
happened.
are
That
you-
never happened.
Are you going to play a creepy gremlin with headgear? Because you would be really good at that.
Just doing my impersonation of you as a child.
It's not. This is where I used to live.
So, Andy, I think we need to really get to the question here
Mm.
and answer, is it safe to be in Mexico City? We've told you guys a lot about what it's like here, some of the goods and the bads in general. Now, let's answer the question to those viewers watching at home who want to travel to Mexico City and want to know, is it safe? Are they going to get their ear chopped off? Are they going to get kidnapped?
my.
No, these are the honest to God. These are things that I've had friends tell me
Mm.
before I came here. And they're like, "Oh, bro, don't go. You're going to get kidnapped, yada, yada, yada." And,
Really?
Yo, and honestly, yeah.
You said that?
Oh, yeah. I've heard all kinds of stories. Maybe some of you at home have heard these too. So let's answer that question now. Is it safe to be here in Mexico?
I think that, you can't ever generalize an answer to a question quite like that. But for the most part, if you are prepared, if you have prepared, okay, where do I want to go within Mexico City? If you've asked around, if you are talking to the locals, if you go to a restaurant, you talk to the waiters, you talk to whomever is local there, and you ask them, okay, like, where should I go? There's certain areas you probably just...
¿Dónde
like
está el baño?
I always want to know how to say, where's the restroom? I think
Especially if you eat the ceviche.
that's... Thank you for that reminder. Yes, that was a horrible time in my life that you are exploiting at this
But
time.
you're better now.
Thank you.
You're okay now.
It's okay now. So I think, though, the answer, real honest to everything, is you are safe in Mexico because they care about sustainable tourism. They're going to protect the tourist aspect of coming to Mexico, to different parts of Mexico. But you want to be really careful about how you go about that. You don't want to get in unmarked cars. You don't want to, maybe take a random taxi that's just around offering taxiing services. You do want to be tracking your ride if you end up ordering an Uber. And you want to make sure that if you're walking around that you're staying within certain areas. And then
be in public settings.
Public settings. And I think, even then, the likelihood of something happening to you is very slim. Very, very slim. The only thing why you want to be cautious is that if something were to happen, the response is not the same in Mexico, unfortunately. I mean, it is just their justice in Mexico for something terrible like a kidnapping or things women go missing all the time. Right now, there's a really big problem in the news, and there's a lot of protests around femicides, femicidios. Just basically, right now, the killing of women in particular.
Terrible.
So especially if you're a woman, that if you don't know Mexico very well, like women go off on their own all the time, but usually when they're locals. So if you're a woman traveling, don't be alone in areas that you don't know. That's kind of a general rule everywhere you go.
Right.
There is danger everywhere in the world, everywhere. So it's not that Mexico is dangerous, but you do want to take extra precautions when you're going to another country. So
Well put. That I think summarizes a very complicated and very serious topic about whether or not it is actually safe. We kid and we joke around the show, but it is very well thought in here in the United States that Mexico City in particular, is extraordinarily dangerous. If you go there, you're going to get shot, kidnapped, something else.
actually, interestingly, if you're from Mexico, your fear to come to the States is that because there are guns allowed. There's nobody can carry anywhere in Mexico legally, right? So
they're more scared of being here.
They're more scared of being here. They're saying we're afraid to go to a public place in the U.S. because there might be a mass shooting. That's what they're seeing on the news.
Isn't that interesting though? How perception is, and how the media can make you turn two sides against each other.
Absolutely.
And then we have a wall in the middle.
Well, and then
separates
keeping in
us.
mind that what we're watching is the news,
Fascinating.
which is covering something outlandish,
And bad. The news
bad.
covers all the bad.
most of the time. I mean, there are some news channels that cover some good things, but
For the most part, they're
part-
covering all the terrible things.
Yeah, so
you're
getting a different
you
perception.
get that perception that everything is bad in Mexico. Everything is bad over here. So
Well,
makes a lot of sense. But so that's a good answer.
and I think it's important to have your own experience. So
Yes.
definitely travel to Mexico. Definitely, if you're here in Mexico and want to go to the U.S., get your visa, go explore.
El vicioso.
And
Well, guys, I think we answered that age-old question whether or not it's safe to visit Mexico City. Tune in to our next episode where we are going to give you guys a tour of
some of the history,
the
local history,
the pyramids.
culture.
We're going to the pyramids. We're going to go to the Museum of Anthropology.
Yep.
We're going to check out all the cool Aztec, Mayan historical goodness.
And speaking of lessons, we're also going to check out a little bit of Josh's Spanish that
Sí.
he's been learning on this trip.
Don't get your hopes up too high.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
Está muy bueno. Andy, ¿está el time perfecto to visit Mexico City?
Speaking of Spanish, creo que es el tiempo perfecto.
I don't know what she said, but I think it's a good time.
The perfect time.
Perfect time.
Yes.
And el sin.